welcome to our membership recruitment webinar. We are so excited to have you join us. We've got a lot of great information tonight and some great panelists lined up to give you some great information. I'm Paula Call, and I'm the Vice President of Membership for the Council. And we have two of our field directors, Jake Bangeter and John Mills, who are monitoring this webinar, and we appreciate them. And they actually are the membership committee's advisors, so we work with them a lot. So we welcome you. And when we were preparing this webinar, we just couldn't believe that it's already April. The month of April has approached us, and it's just about halfway there. And of course, we're starting to think of end of the school year things and activities. And so we'd like to share some recruiting and marketing ideas that could help your units. If you haven't attended our webinars in the past, this is our fourth webinar. And all the information shared in those webinars are still up on our webpage at utahscouts.org/recruitment. And everything shared tonight will also be available on that same webpage. And I'd like to actually list the previous trainings and resources shared on those webinars. Instructions on how to activate and use your Be a Scout pin, great instruction we've had in a couple of our webinars. So if you want easy access to learn how to activate, go to that webpage. Also information about geofencing and a walkthrough of the recruitment webpage. And that's our recruitment webpage. Thanks for putting that up on the screen, Jake. Recruitment opportunities in person and virtual, the role of a new member coordinator, and what do I do now to be successful? You know, we give all this training and you learn so much, but then what? So also we had Brad Harris talk about leaving no stone unturned. Also shared the unit roadmap instructions, recruitment of girls to a true, and Webelos to Scout transition. We also invited Annalise Smith to come and talk a little bit about commissioner service. So there's been a lot of wonderful things shared in our past webinars. So if you missed out, get back up on this webpage and you can actually view the video or click on some of the things that were shared, some of the PowerPoint and information. So there's a lot of helpful material that's available. I do want to make you aware of some events that are taking place this month. So this coming Saturday, there's going to be a Council Pinewood Derby at Camp Tracy at the Layton Lodge between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. And it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I heard through the grapevine that they'll have tracks set up for about 30 cars that they can race at once. Also Lego Derby cars will be available, Derby slides. If you haven't registered, what a wonderful event for your family and for friends. utahscouts.org/derby is where you can go to register for that. And it's got all the rules and everything that you need to know. And if you haven't heard about the virtual Scout Nights by now, the next one is next Thursday, April 29th. Let's see, 6:30 p.m. for Cub Scouts, 7:30 for the Scouts. And there's some pretty fun people lined up to talk about the Leave No Trace. So if you want to try that out, it's a lot of fun. I've joined one of them, and it's just fun watching the kids and their interaction with these people putting on these Scout Nights. And we appreciate Maddie Mayfield for hosting them and getting this all lined up. But these kids are asking questions and they're very interactive. So it's just a lot of fun to watch. And this is a reminder, if you don't know, that we have started a yard decorating competition. And so we hope that you guys can share the information here and join in the Scout spirit and put up some signs, some banners, decorate your homes, your yards, businesses, and just to let everybody know that you are a scouting family and that you support Cub Scouts and Scouts BSA and just any scouting related things. So winners will be picked each month in your districts, and the grand prize winner will be picked in December. And grand prize actually will be a camp fee certificate that will be awarded to the winner. So hopefully you can get people involved and have some fun with that. And if you actually get on the utahscouts.org/yard sign, you can get on and sign up, and that's where you'll get, and thanks Jake for putting that up on the screen, the information here, the rules, and you can print off flyers and share it with people. And so it's going to be a lot of fun, and we hope there will be a lot that will participate. And finally, Cub Day Camp. If you know of units or packs that haven't signed up for Cub Day Camps, let's get them and encourage them to sign up. It's so wonderful to have these kids join and invite their friends, and what a great membership tool that we can encourage our packs, that they can encourage their friends to join along. And I was just informed that there will be a webinar coming up, let's see, Thursday, April 22nd at 6 o'clock our time. It's called Membership Growth Through Cub Scout Day Camp, Steps You Can Take Now to Achieve Immediate Results. And it's a great, day camps, like I said, are great activities that you can really invite and show what fun things that you can do. And what they're saying that Cub Scout Day Camp, what they're trying to achieve at this webinar, is one of the best activities you can leverage to grow membership now. And then who should attend? All staff and volunteers who coordinate, plan, and run your Cub Scout Day Camps, membership committee members, marketing committee members, and they're encouraging us to invite anyone who can help leverage Day Camp as a membership growth tool in our council. So sounds like it's going to be a lot of great information, and I'm going to actually be adding that on my schedule for next week. Okay, so that's what's going on in our council this month. I'm sure there's other things, so get on the calendar and the website, and you can actually get some more information and see what's going on with some events. So let's get started with our presentations tonight. We've got some great panelists, like I said. First up, we have Felice Clements, who will be training us on recruiting lions and tigers, and also recruiting adult leaders and parents. So let me tell you a little bit about Felice. This is the first time I've met her. I've texted and we've talked, but to be able to join Zoom with her, she's just a ball of energy, and I love her so far. And Felice resides in Springville, and she's a mother of 4 children. Her oldest is 17, youngest is 7, and they all help raising 30 chickens. So what can that say about Felice and her family? She and her husband helped start a community unit. I believe she said back in 2009. They also run a boy unit and a girl unit right now. And when it comes to scouting, she and her husband are a great partnership. They do everything together, and their scouting experience has been centered around their family and vice versa. So their family has been centered around scouting activities. And I think that's very admirable. She is the Kalis Council trained and Wood Badge trained, where she also served on staff of both. And she does claim the bobwhites are the best creatures on the earth. So I'll turn the time over to Felice.
Thank you, Paula. You know what, you guys, I just have to tell you, when Paula asked me, she asked me several months ago to help with this, I thought, oh, one more thing that the council or the district wants us to do. And after meeting with everybody yesterday, you guys are in for a treat. This is such a great group that has the best of intentions of helping each of our units grow. And I was so excited to just be a part of this. So I want to tell you a little bit about recruiting lions and tigers. As Paula said, we have a boy troop, a girl troop, and we also have our pack. 1456 is our number. And we have been involved for 12 years now. So we've had all sorts of exciting things that way. We've also been in the middle of all of that. We also were involved in our LDS units. So my husband was a Scoutmaster for years, and I worked with our Cub Scout program for years. So we've really enjoyed working in scouting and working with youth in general. My husband and I have worked over 20 years working with youth in one capacity or another. So let's talk about a little bit about recruiting lions and tigers today. We have done, I feel like everything under the sun, but Darryl's going to teach you something we haven't used. So it's really cool. But we've done peer-to-peer invitations, parades, join nights, flyers available at our popcorn sales. We've had flyers in classrooms, people driving by, and being out in the community. And 3 of those things are what have actually brought us. I mean, we might have had 1 kid from a parade. We actually did. We got 1 kid from like 10,000 flyers of a parade. But our best results for our unit were peer-to-peer invitations, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, flyers available at popcorn sales, and being out in the community. And as I was talking yesterday, Jake brought up, he's like, you should mention uniforms. And I told him, I'm like, wearing my uniform is like breathing air. I don't even think about the fact that I maybe should mention that. So that is one of the things that I feel so strongly about uniforms. I've watched, as I have worked in the last 12 years in scouting, I have watched different units. I'm like a really observant person. My neighbors sometimes might call me Gladys Kravitz. And so I've noticed that you feel like you're a group, right? That you feel unified if you're wearing a uniform. So we do. And our unit, when we first started, our unit decided we were going to be 100% full uniform. We didn't know there was any other way but that. Being a community unit, a traditional unit. So that's what we chose. And in the summertime, or when we are doing something that gets us very dirty, then we all have class Bs that match. And our kids have lots of class Bs, but we have specific pack ones and pack t-shirts and troop t-shirts. So we look like a group of people working together. So in those times that we've caught people's attention being in the community, it was because here they saw us. We do wear very, very loud colors, which kind of helps. But it catches people's attention and they wonder, okay, what's going on there? So we look uniform, we look like a group. So that is one really important thing when we talk about that. The other thing with the peer-to-peer invitations, we have an incentive for our Cub Scouts. We have a whole incentive program. If they're good, if they bring their book, their binder to den meeting, they get to earn beads and they can go to a little trading post. Well, with our peer-to-peer invitations, when we want to get those sent out, we make little flyers for the kids that are kind of like an invitation that they can hand out to their friends. And depending on how many of those they hand out, then they get a little prize. So that's something that you could consider doing. The other thing is for our unit, and well, for everybody, there is a recruiter patch. And for our unit, you kind of get to decide as a unit how you're going to present that patch. So for our unit, there's a period of time that whoever they recruit, that recruitee needs to be a part of our unit for a period of time. And once they are, then we celebrate the fact that one of our kids has recruited another friend to come and join us. So those are a couple of things. So that peer-to-peer invitations, the flyers at our popcorn sales, for years, we never had anybody ask us about one or two people, how they could have joined scouting until about 2020, or actually a little bit before that. All of a sudden, people had a need. And there we were selling popcorn, and I all of a sudden had to hurry up and put flyers together and get them printed, because it wasn't something we normally did, but it has been really, really helpful. And then also being out in the community service and other opportunities to just be out there. They see us, we do physical fitness at the high school, and people see us all in our shirts and they stop and they look, and it's kind of fun. So the 2 times that we work on trying to recruit our Tigers and our older Cubs and the older Cub Scouts, we work on those Tigers and older Cub Scouts in the late spring. And specifically, our unit, we work on it at the beginning of May, so that because the BSA, we're ending our school year, we're ending our dens at the end of May, beginning of June. It's a good time to bring new kids in who aren't going to feel the pressure of trying to get a new rank. They can just come in, enjoy, and be a part of our group. They start to get to know us. And at the end of May, we're outside, we're doing fun activities. They're not in a building. My kids were never born to be in between 4 walls. It just wasn't a thing. And a lot of kids aren't either. And so just being outside and having fun, it really helps bring them in. And it's end of school. Moms are looking for more things to help their kids do through the summer. So they're wholesome, fun activities. You guys all know the Scout Oath and Law. So here we go. And we have a lot of fun. So that's Tigers and the older Scouts, older Cub Scouts. For our Lions, since it's a 9-month program, they don't go to day camp, and there's a few other things they don't do. And they're supposed to start in September or October. Then we recruit when school starts. We've noticed that parents of kindergartners, they want to find an extracurricular activity for their child when school starts. So this is a perfect time for us to kind of hit that market, if you want to call it that. And so we really, thank goodness, I had a great question yesterday from somebody who said, well, how do you do that? Usually we have 1 or 2 Lions from our families. There's usually 1 or 2 kids that are coming up. And so we just try to get those kids to invite their friends, and hopefully it snowballs. Some years we have 2 or 3 Lions, and by the end we might have 4 or 5 or 6. And other years it starts out with a ton, and it just kind of ebbs and flows that way. But really think about that. Consider inviting those Tigers and the older Cub Scouts to come late spring, like May, and then the Lions, look at your program and really hit that when school starts. We talked about yesterday in a meeting, we talked about, well, how can we do that? Unfortunately, in the schools, say 8-9 years ago, we were able to go to different schools and we were able to get flyers in classrooms. And now in the district that we live in, we can't do that. But we've found that we can hand our Cub Scouts invitations, flyers to invite their friends, and the school doesn't have a problem with that. So that's one great, and that's where peer-to-peer invitation comes from. They can just invite their friends, invite the kids around them, and it really does, like, that's the magical key. Anyway, now I want to kind of shift a little bit, and let's talk about recruiting adult leaders and parents. And Paula, are there any questions that I need to answer there? Or do we want to just wait till the end of the webinar to field any questions there?
No questions have come up
No,
yet,
no
Elise.
questions yet.
All right, perfect. Okay, if you have questions out there, John's watching it like a hawk, so you guys can ask him your questions and we'll get to those. So recruiting adult leaders and parents, and they asked me to present this idea to you, and I want to tell you that the idea that I'm going to share with you tonight is one that blew my mind. It wasn't an idea that was mine, but it comes with a little bit of a story. So when the BSA offered us to have a Cub Scout program that was a family program that was boys and girls, I was super, super excited. I have 4 kids. One of them is a daughter. And so she got to toddle around with her brother. They're 16 months apart, all through his Cub Scout experience, because if my husband and I are leaders, I rarely paid for a babysitter to also watch her. Plus she wanted to be doing what we were doing. And so right about the time that he left and went to Boy Scouts, or a couple years after that, that's when they brought the Cub Scout program in. So she didn't get to partake of that, but I wanted to make sure that other girls and sisters had the opportunity to do that. We already had little girls running around in the church that we meet at. So I wanted to have an opportunity for them to experience Cub Scouting if we could do it. But the biggest problem that we had was that we were going from 6 dens to 12 dens. And I already had 6 dens of leaders that were like, it wasn't solid. It didn't have a great foundation. And trying to keep that staffed, it like really was frustrating to me to think, okay, now I'm going from 6 and all of a sudden I need 12. How am I going to do that? But I'm going to tell you guys, I am a spiritual person, and if I have a problem, I set it to prayer. Actually, I stew on it for a really long time. And then I realized I can set it to prayer, and I need to work on that. But I set it to prayer, and I said, okay, I don't know how to fix this problem, but I know these girls deserve to have the program that these boys have. They deserve to have great leaders. They deserve to go have fun. They deserve a program. And the answer that came to me was the mind-blowing answer that some of you are probably like, yeah, we already do that. And I'm glad that you do. But the answer that came to me was, every family needs to serve. And I thought, I can't do that. I cannot ask every family to find a way to help. I can't ask them, like, so-and-so works really hard, and so-and-so is a stay-at-home mom, and she's busy all day long. And I can't ask them to do that. And this quiet little voice that I argue with way too much said to me, well, but you're not asking them to do anything more than you're already doing. And I thought, oh, that's true, right? So if I want this so much for my children, and they want this for their children, then they've got to help serve. So we did. We sat down with our committee, and I said, okay, you guys, I got this crazy idea, but what do you guys think about this? And there were some families at the time that weren't helping, so they kind of were grandfathered in. But any new families that were bringing in girls or boys, for that matter, after that point, they had to have one adult from that family help serve as a den leader or an assistant den leader, because that's where our need was. And it freaked me out. I felt like I was going to be excluding children who needed scouting. I felt like how could I ask this of these people? But I just had this reassurance that it would work, and that I needed to just kind of have faith that it would work. And I'm kind of a numbers, like, I want to know that it works, but I had to just go by faith that this was going to work. So we did, and it has worked. It has been a really cool opportunity to watch families who get to serve each other. The one thing I didn't mention to our friends yesterday was, we don't have parents over their kids, because we found that they need that adult association. They need it. And parents need a break from their kids sometimes. Some parents don't, but a lot of parents do. And some kids are a lot more polite when they're not with their mom or dad. And that's what works for us. And sometimes parents are, but oh, you guys, it has been such a joy to know that we're going to have the leaders that we need. I don't have to stress about it. And it's not all perfect all of the time, but it's something that just has worked great for our unit. So I want you to know, like, whatever it is, find that thing that works for your unit. And the other thing is be willing to change. We had been doing what we had been doing for 6 or 7 years, maybe even 8. And I had to be willing to work something a different way. And it actually worked out for us. So I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of the people that are going to be speaking to us today. Darryl has some really cool things that I can't wait to hear him talk about. And I just want to thank you for being here, and thank Paula for asking me to be here today. Thank you.
So was I right? Thank you, Felice. See, a ball of energy. I mean, seriously, you have so much to share, and we appreciate your knowledge and your experience. And I think everyone hopefully is writing down some new things that they haven't heard of. I know you're so right when it comes to peer-to-peer, how that's the best way, and also making yourselves known by wearing your uniform, getting out there and doing some fun things, and people see that and see your service and what you're doing and having fun. And I really think that, that you probably had more come to you this year, because when COVID hit, or last year, I guess, when COVID hit, I think families were together and they just needed something. They were looking for something extra for their families to do. So we're hoping that we get kind of back into normal, but I don't know if we're there quite yet. But thank you, Felice. So next up, like Felice has kind of already introduced Darryl, he is actually a past professional scouter who happened to be my first advisor over at the old Utah National Parks Council, and it's taught me a lot. And Darryl Alder has been involved with the Provo School District years ago, serving 12 years on the school board. He's then served 32 years as a professional scouter. He taught quite a bit at Philmont and was a trainer for several years at the BSA Center for Professional Development. He's also held many volunteer positions. I'm sure he doesn't want me to name them all, but I've got them listed right here as he was telling me. Weebles leader, Cub Master, Scout Master, Committee Chair, Varsity Coach, Associate Advisor for over a co-ed exploring post, and Unit Commissioner. And I think that, like, if you name it, he served it. And right now he's the new Unit Commissioner and helping the committee and leaders in 2 Scout troops. And he's also on my council membership committee. He's a Silver Beaver, an Outstanding Eagle, and received the Commissioner's Key. And I don't know, I think it's probably you've received a couple of those, and that's what she's been most proud of. That's what he told me. He and his wife are parents of 4 adopted incredible children. He was the expert advisor and led a team for one of the most successful social media campaigns that I have ever seen in scouting. And he reached 250,000 people, of readers. That was through the Voice of Scouting. So I'm sure a lot of you have read his blog articles. He's very gifted. So I'm going to turn the time over to Darryl Alder, and he is going to talk to us about marketing strategies, especially for join nights using social media.
So when we think of scouting in our council, we probably think of Boy Scouting, but one of the things we need to do is probably get the big picture here, thinking of the whole Scout family. And moms are our target market. Anyone want to venture to answer why? Unmute and tell us. Oh, come on, don't be shy.
I'm just going to say moms are in charge.
And I don't think they can unmute, but they can also just put on chat or question and answer.
Okay. Well, moms definitely are in charge. But here's something interesting. Moms tend to manage the whole household, and they make the decisions about after-school programs. But the modern mom doesn't do it the same way your mom might have. So moms 25 to 32 get their information through Instagram, and moms 33 through 49 get most of it through Facebook. And one of the keys in this is when we're marketing, women buy or pick services based on trust. So if they hear a trusted source, some other woman who's satisfied, like Felice Clemens is, then you know that you can go forward with this. But here's the key. Our market has been so saturated in the past with boys scouting and Cub Scouting for boys. The question bears asking, what is your unit's social media presence and strategy? Are you telling your whole story every week? And is it compelling? Now, that would require 2 things. Units are supposed to have a member coordinator, and you welcome new parents and things like that. But I'm going to suggest you also need a social media specialist. Then you have to ask yourself, have we told the whole story? We say scouting's for the whole family, but have we really told the whole story? Have we talked about girls in Cub Scouting and Scouts BSA for girls and about co-adventuring and all of its years? So those are some things we need to think about. Now, I'm going to show you a model. I'm not going to tell you it's the best, but this is Troop 1, one of the 2 troops that I'm a new unit commissioner for. And I'm wondering if any of those who are on the chat, because I can't observe the chat and do this at the same time, and any of you can feedback, what do you observe about this Facebook page for this troop? It can be good things, it can be bad things. There's some problems here, but there's some good things too.
So Darryl, are you still trying to keep your family picture up, or are you trying to post something from your troop?
Is my family picture up?
It sure is. It's showing on my screen anyway.
So you guys haven't been watching my presentation. Well, I've been talking, huh? I thought I was screen
You've
sharing.
been enjoying your family picture.
Oh,
We thought
dear.
looking at a trusted mother.
Darryl, you'll want to unscreen share and then screen share the presentation.
You know, I do this for a living. You'd think I wouldn't have a bit of problems. So when we tested it earlier, it worked. What do you see now?
There you go.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're here looking at Troop 1, Troop I Advise. And can any of you give us any insights into this troop's from this troop's Facebook page? Things you see that are good, things that are probably not so good.
Darryl, I see right there, it says private group, 20 members.
My gosh, what a disaster. Why is that a private group? Why isn't it open for everyone in the community? What a mistake. What else?
I would like to see them in uniform.
Yeah, wouldn't you? But you've already talked about that. Well, so let's go in and we're going to look at this troop for a minute. We're going to actually go to their Facebook page. Do you see that Facebook page on the screen?
Yes.
All right. So as we look at this, we see a moose and something that's sending high adventure, but oh, it says Hogle Zoo, but it's Fish and Wildlife Merit Badge. Okay. And then we see something about a court of honor, and then an event invitation to only those 20 people. And an eagle was being presented. Oh my gosh. And only Christina listed that she went. So let's go down a little further and take a look. I'm the Pioneering Merit Badge counselor. And so this is a picture of me in late November teaching some basic pioneering skills. And that's probably not all that exciting to see, but look at these kids' face. They made their own ropes. And you know what they did with their ropes? They worked on lashings. And they had some fun. I think you can tell that. But the most compelling thing and the story that needed to be up on Instagram and Facebook in the community was this. Can you hear them? So having seen that, can any of you can you reflect on and tell me what the aims of scouting are? There's 4. And some of them were represented there, but not all equally well. Everyone feeling shy right now? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, there's no responses though to the question on chat.
So, I mean, we saw some leadership trying to emerge. We saw cooperation, which is citizenship. We saw a little bit of fitness. Maybe we didn't see any character development, except they weren't cheating. So, but that's what parents are wanting from the program. What were the boys doing?
Darryl, they were having fun.
They were having fun. And where were they having it?
Not between four walls.
They were outdoors. So our unit meets at Class Ropes course. We have a great opportunity there to canoe and play outdoors and do great things. But let's talk about how we could market this, okay? So the Lakeview Elementary is part of this community. This is a closed group. I could join it, maybe I could get someone in the PTA to help me. Let's see what else we can find in the community. Oh, look, I live in the Lakeview South neighborhood and I'm a member there. So at the school, we have 907 people that like the page. But look how many people are in my neighborhood group that I belong to, 771. What about the neighborhood that's just north and up by the school? Let's take a look. They've got 556. That means without a newspaper, without calling anyone on the phone, I can reach over 1,200 people to tell them we have this great activity outdoors. Would your child like to join us? So I checked here at Amelia Earhart, a little bit of a closed group too, so that's a problem. But let me tell you about what we need to have you think about on your own Facebook page. Look at this service. Create a post in Business Suite. Now, I have to tell you, I'm not a Facebook guy. I have to do it for a living. I do it for 3 hours a week for Abigail's Oven, marketing sourdough bread. But the last thing in the world I was going to do was learn how to use Instagram. But guess what Business Suite does? It lets me build a post in Facebook and post it on my Instagram page at the same time. Now, look at this. We're planning a trip to Yellowstone. Come on over. Anyone who's interested, join us and come to Yellowstone with us. Do you know that in BSA that a boy or a girl can attend a camp out or a program activity like day camp without being registered to kind of try before they buy? So this is a really important message to get people to come to. Not like come to our Pinewood Derby, our special Pinewood Derby because we want to recruit you, but come to our Pinewood Derby to have some fun. We'll have practice cars there. You know, things like that. That's what we're after. So I want you all to make note of this, that at our council's webpage, utahscouts.org/recruitment, there's a whole page of resources you should become familiar with. There isn't time for us to focus on all of them, but I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom. The National Council's BSA Brand Center, the Cub Scout Recruitment Resources, and Scout BSA marketing tools are just, I mean, if I'd had these when I was a new district executive, it would have been a piece of cake to sell scouting. So we're going to take a peek in at these. When you go to Scouts BSA, this is where we market female troops. You get logos and flyers. So you'll notice there's girls up here and there's girls in the photos. And then you get playbooks, and the playbooks help you put a geocaching event together, an adult recruiting playbook. There's 4 in all. But if you look down, there's videos. And when you put videos on your Facebook page, I mean, look what it said. 1 billion hours of video are watched on the internet every day. And I don't know if you guys know this. As much as people are on Facebook, YouTube now beats them out. So putting in a video is going to make a huge, huge difference. Now, let's just talk about our yard decorating contest. Tell me some good things and some bad things that you can think about the yard decorating contest.
So Darryl, if you lived on a street like me, 1 billion people drive by me, so you'd get a lot of traction, right? But the neighborhood right up above me, If my Cub Scouts were to decorate at those houses, you'd have maybe 5 to 10 families who would see it every day when they walked out their house, and that's about it.
Well, so when school ends every day, what kind of traffic do you have in the neighborhood? Who has the most? Do you have the most?
For me personally, I have traffic. I just live at a beautiful location that has traffic all day long.
So look at
Darryl.
that scene
Yeah,
with the joint
I
Cub.
live in a cul-de-sac and don't have any traffic.
Right. So, and I live on a street that has some people pass by. So if my house was decorated like that, how would it do anything? I mean, we just determined we have to be where the moms are. Where are the moms? They're picking their kids up after school. So you need to be across from the school. And you need to have something happening there, not this static sign. You need to be putting up some tents or cooking s'mores over a portable campfire or anything else you can think of. So heavy traffic across from the school matters. Now, I need to tell you this marketing theorem. You need 3 separate marketing penetrations or repetitions. So people driving by Felice Clemens' house every day, after 3, they don't see it anymore. If, however, the neighborhood Facebook page and Instagram page had an invitation to come over there to try, I don't know, what would you do? What kind of demonstration would you do outside to get kids involved?
If it was Cub Scouts, we'd probably do something easy over a campfire, some sort of food thing. Well, depending on COVID stuff.
I mean,
If it was Boy Scouts, Scouts BSA aged kids, I'd probably ask the older kids to figure something out. They'd probably choose like lashing or I don't know. They like things like that.
sure, anything like that. I'd pop up my solar oven and have marshmallows and roasters there and let the Boy Scouts roast their marshmallows on the solar oven.
That's awesome.
Okay, so that gives you a second penetration. So we're looking for 3 different ways we need to do this. Pass along cards and flyers being passed out on the corner by parents or scouts after school. And sometimes you can get the principal to make an announcement. Sometimes they'll do that. And the PTA newsletter is another way. So those are all tools that are useful to you in marketing. Now, the single best thing to do is not like have a recruitment night where you go do a lot of work and invite people there and PTA's in the other room and you're trying to recruit kids. Oh, don't do that. Just think of the coolest event you do every year with your pack or your troop. And if you look here at the marketing membership hub, so Scouting Wire, I wish this was a short URL. It's a very long one, but it'll be up for you to look at later. But there's a playbook that'll teach you exactly how to do everything that we're going to show you here. So there's the static signs, that works. But look at the difference if the boys were invited to your den meeting and they were building a gizmo like this, or even better, if they were invited to the park with their parents to have a parent and child archery contest. Oh my gosh. And a campfire that night with Dutch oven cobbler, you're gonna win some hearts with that, folks. So there's a whole set of social media images that have already been harvested. You don't have to take any photographs. Bicycles may change, but cycling is timeless. Well, if we had scrolled down in Troop 1's activity 3 months ago, they had such a great cycling adventure and they didn't showcase it. They could have. All right, I'm going to suggest a way to get in the schools, okay? If you'll go to scouting.org, adopt a school, and register your pack or troop to serve a school, and then go to the principal and say, our troop, our pack wants to do service projects for the school. We'll help beautify it. We'll help paint it. So my Cub pack painted outside the kindergarten classroom, and the teacher rewarded them by saying, now I want each of you to put both of your hands in different color paint and put it on the wall. 15 years later, those hands are still on that wall, painted by boys who are now old enough to be Cub Scout adults. Helping with the giving tree at Christmas, helping during any kind of festivals or book drives, food drives, a green effort, cleaning up after school events, helping with the literacy program, teaching English as a second language, teacher appreciation. In Provo School District, Scouts could deliver the Golden Apple Award. So there's a lot to do. I want you to know that the Brand Center is packed with ideas that you need to probably get in and get to know. And that's my presentation. Are there any questions that I can address for any of you?
Yes, there are a couple of questions, Darryl. If we can go to the chat, excuse me, to the chat. Phyllis Weber asks, does the BSA have any rules or regulations for having a Facebook page?
So at the social media, at the Membership Marketing Hub, there are social media rules, and at scouting.org, and you can just look, what are the social media rules for Scouting BSA or Boy Scouts of America? And it will tell you, this is what I recommend though. I recommend you put this out to the parents like Felice talked about, and find someone who's like a real social media guru in the unit and have them work on this a little bit, because if you put your pack up as a .org, then you'll get that service to use the Instagram and the and it's just a title you put on the name of your pack, pack101.org or whatever. It's not like a real website or anything, but they'll have some rules about engagement, because we still have to do safe scouting, and there's some other things. And think of your website as an outreach to moms, not as a recruitment tool to youth.
Okay.
Another question?
Yes. So along with that, does the BSA have to own the page or be able to monitor it?
No, don't do that. Just put it up and make sure that you guys are committed to keep it going. It takes two people, a membership coordinator in the unit to greet the parents and help them get registered, and a social media specialist who will make the effort.
So to finish that, thank you, Darryl. What we can maybe do, Darryl, and if you don't mind doing it when you finish off here and Charlie takes over, is type that website where they have the rules into the chat so that our participants can see it.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any more questions? Thank you, John, for monitoring the questions. Yeah, that was quite a bit in that question. So a lot of good information. Thanks for answering that, Darryl. Appreciate all this valuable information that you shared. And you know, I could listen to Darryl for hours. I know he has hours of information to share with us. And so it looked like someone also suggested that the Scout logo or emblem be up on the top of the page. I think that they were responding to your question about what was wrong with your first one. So, okay. So remember that we will get all of this up on our webpage at utahscouts.org/recruitment. Before I go on, just checking to make sure there are no more questions. But so our last presenter is Charlie Twist, and Charlie actually was a panelist on our last webinar, and he has come back to share another thing that he shared with me last year, and I thought it was actually some good information. And what he shared last time was the Webelos to Scout transition. And you know, Charlie's been involved with Scouting for 47 years. I've come to know him because he's on my membership committee, and his heart is always in it. He is always serving and doing so much. I rely on him for a lot, and he's so willing to help. That's what I love about Charlie. So he's become a good friend. He served as a district trainer, district commissioner, district chair, and assistant council commissioner. He is currently serving as a COR for a pack and a troop in Hurricane. And he shared with me, like I said, a PowerPoint last year about recruiting youth. And so I've asked him to present tonight. So I'll turn the time over to Charlie.
Thank you very much, Paula. I like to bring new people on board, both youth and adults, because I think the program offers something for each. As we take a look at how to get these people, I think Darryl has done an excellent job for us tonight in presenting some wonderful ideas. Having spent my professional career in education, I'm familiar with mission statements, and I think those are nice, but I think it's more important for us to be down to earth on practicality issues, and I think that's what Darryl has done a wonderful job with tonight. I have put together a PowerPoint presentation that I'd like to share at this point. And so I hope this shows up on your screen. Recruiting ideas from another person, another perspective. As we are after youth, whether we're talking young men, young women, elementary kids, boys and girls, our goal is to have these people in our groups. So we look for Cub Scout involvement and Scouts USA. Now, most of us have been involved with some capacity of LDS youth, and that was a wonderful way to give a shot of adrenaline to the whole scouting movement, because everybody got registered whether they wanted to or not. And so we always had lots of new people based on their birthday. But at the present time, we only have a smattering of them with our community units. And so our effort needs to be to reach out to them. Some of them have just joined our BSA troops to complete their Eagle rank. I have a handful of those in the troop that I'm working with right now. And then the next question is, what happens to them? We help them do all the paperwork and they get their Eagle. What happens to them? Well, they just vanish on us. So I've been working with these young men and saying, we will help you, but we have a condition. We'd like for you to stick around for a while and be an example, a teacher, a friend to those who are a little younger, and look to you as a tutor. So we need to constantly be recruiting, our Cubs especially, and they are the feeding group into the Scouts BSA. One of the things that is important for us to be able to do is to communicate to the parents through some of these media that we have seen earlier tonight, that we are in business of building character. So, question is, how are you recruiting in your unit? Well, I think that's going to vary by your community and your own personality. So sharing of ideas is always a useful one, and we've had a lot of that earlier tonight. So I'm going to move right on through some of those ideas. And I will share with you some of the things that I do with our Cubs and Scouts. I found that chocolate is a nice item to reach out. It's not only just a girl or a woman's best friend. It is a good friend for kids of all ages and all sexes. So if a friend shows up with somebody, I give them both a candy bar. I have a stockpile of the oversized candy bars and say, thanks for being here tonight. Take your pick. and their eyes get big and they go home trying to figure out how they can get that person next door to come next week. Elementary school drive-up lanes while moms are parked there. We can go tapping on the window, have a flyer, hand that to them, be down the street for those that are walking home. Flyer on the rec center bulletin board. That's how we got our latest inquiry this last week. So this is one that we have, and we have little smaller versions of this that we have to the kids to pass out to their friends, one for our Cub Pack, one for our Scout group. We have a poster on Heavily Traveled Road, and it looks like this, emphasizing we build character. We have worked for both Cubs and Scouts, male and female. And then we have that unit pen that is available from National. We've had inquiries from that. They have been helpful to us. So we just put that on there and say we are community unit serving boys and girls in Hurricane and the Hurricane Valley, where we meet and when. So if they click on that, we get notified. Facebook, we had a wonderful presentation on that tonight. Geofencing, low cost. Let's use Facebook to our advantage. If you're planning on a joining event where you want to reach parents, set up an event, geofence in Facebook with a 1 or 2 mile radius around the location. When a parent enters that area, they'll receive notification on their Facebook page about that event. A unit website, it needs to be kept current. I think Darryl has pointed that out well to us. Somebody over recruiting, somebody keeping the website up to date. Nobody likes looking at something that had its last entry 18 months ago. And then we want to have parental permission for pictures. So we put something together that gives us the right, the privilege from the parent to have their child picture there. Community parades. Show Your Hometown Scouting is still around. I am constantly running across people that tell me, scouting, I thought it was all finished. No, we're still in business. We need to let people know. So 4th of July, 24th of July, different community events where you can have these scouters out there in uniform at the head of the parade, carrying the flag. Great effort. Some of the communities have a festival of trees at Christmas time. Some of our youth got involved. They had a red tree that needed to be decorated, and I thought, what could be more scouting than a red Christmas tree? So our boys decorated, posted that, helped keep our name in front of the community. And business cards. We made some up, the logo from our pack and troop, who are the key players, how to reach them. And constantly talk to people you know and others you don't. We had a big car show here in our community this last week, and we were involved with that. And anytime a parent showed up with their child, looked like they were Scout age, Cub age, I'd say, have you been in Cubs previously? Would you like to come back? And so we let the parents as well as the youth know we are still in the business of reaching out. Talk, talk, talk. That's what we need to do. And if you have a recruitment night, have some displays. Let the kids be there talking about it. And in your conversations, Talk about your ceremonies. Make it a big deal to get the awards at the PAC meeting or at the Court of Honor. Make it a showmanship affair. And these are ideas from only one unit. As we work with one another, you have an idea, I have an idea, let's help one another. I picked up on some great ideas earlier this week and again tonight, and hopefully you did the same. Thank you. That is the end of my presentation. If there are questions, I'll be glad to take them.
Thank you, Charlie. You know, I continue to learn and I keep on writing things down. Hopefully you guys are doing the same. Thanks for sharing what you're doing in your district and ways that you're recruiting. I think there was just a question about if you will be able to answer questions, or the participants could ask questions after the meeting. So I don't know if that's even doable, Jake, if we can, whoever can stay on and ask more questions. But before I wrap this up, I was just thinking, if there's a topic or training that you would like for us to cover at our next webinar, we're planning on having one in July, just because we will be getting ready for the fall recruitment kickoff. And so if you have any questions or topics or trainings that you would like us to answer, to present, then get a hold of one of us, get a hold of your membership chairs in your districts or your DEs, and let them know so that they can get word back to us, because we want to hear from you what you would like to hear from us. And Charlie brings up a good point. Remember that everything you do, you need to think recruit. You've got to invite. You know, everything that you do on any of your activities that you plan, think of membership. You've got to have a membership component in everything that you are planning. And so thanks, Charlie, for that wonderful presentation, and a huge thanks to all of our panelists. Valuable information that I continue to be enlightened on. And we hope that this comes at a good time for you and that you all use what we have shared. And we're grateful for all of you for all that you do in your scouting efforts, and we appreciate you being with us tonight. And so hopefully we'll see you all in July and more. So let everybody know about these webinars, and have a good night. And thanks for joining us. Good night, everybody.